I'm gonna go ahead and say what no one else is willing to say. So if you're a lover girl or a mediocre man, go ahead and click off this video because you won't like it, or you can cry in the comments. In order for us to achieve peace on planet Earth and get the things that we want to get out of this life, we're gonna have to delete 90% of men. Yes, that includes your awful baby daddy and your ancient father. So if I was president of the universe, we would literally structure society so that we can finally achieve a matriarchy. But in order to do that, we have to get rid of most men because let's just face it, most men are not going to change. There's literally not enough time on planet Earth to change the heart of a trash man, and there's nothing you can do. We would literally need the second coming of Christ in order to change some of these men on this planet. And so what I'm suggesting is that we literally get rid of them using the science that we already have. Elon Musk has said that by the year 2031, we will be able to support life on planet Mars. So I'm suggesting that we ship 90%, the bottom 90% of men to Mars so that we can achieve the matriarchy. And what does that leave us with? That leaves us with the top 10% of men, 5% of which are the men who are loyal to their wives and devoted husbands. And the other 5% are the men who have amazing gene pool, great IQ, good bone structure, good hair, skin, tall, fine as fuck. You know what I'm talking about. So since 2031 is a couple years away, that gives us enough time to decide what are the traits that we want to keep from the men on planet Earth and how do we want to repopulate the planet. We can have sporting competitions to decide who is the most athletic. We can have mental competitions to see who is the smartest, the best IQ. We can have social competitions to decide who has the best heart and who is the most emotionally viable. But if we want to actually have a chance to fight as a matriarchy and become the great planet that we know we can be, we have to get rid of 90% of men in order to do this. And that means you're going to have to detach from the idea of everyone getting a soulmate because that's just not realistic. Now, after we've gotten rid of 90% of men, you probably are asking, Ace, what do we do after that? Now we got all these women on this planet. What are we going to do? I'm suggesting that we begin to rebuild our societies centering around women, children, and the elderly, meaning our housing complexes need to literally be built in a circle, supporting children in the center and having the rest of the society, the rest of the neighborhoods be built around this. Now, you're probably wondering, well, we got rid of all the men. Who's going to do our construction work? We can literally 3D print our houses if we want to. Or we can have strong women do the work. If you know anything about strong women, a strong woman is as good as a man, as competent as a man. And the best part about women is that not only can they be strong and competent, but they can also produce more men if we need to. Except this time the men will have great genes because we weeded out all of the bad gene pool. And I know some of you out there are thinking, well, what happens with all of the men that we send to Mars? What are they going to do up there? I don't know. I mean, they probably want to smash each other. So we should just let them do their thing and create their own societies, their own communities, their own brotherhood if they want to. They can go play soccer or do whatever they want. I just don't think that we can have them on our planet if we want a chance at survival as women who have power. And if you have other suggestions on how we can rebuild a matriarchy on planet Earth, let me know in the comments. Oh, and one last thing, having money as a man does not qualify you to be on the matriarchy of planet Earth. So we can go ahead and get rid of that myth that having money as a man makes you better, because literally it's your gene pool. What genes were you born with and how can you be useful to the matriarchy? On planet Earth, as a matriarchy, we literally don't need money anymore. So you're dismissed.
That I'm starting to realize about a lot of these videos that I've covered over time is the fact that if women like this, because again, there's a comment that should be directly in front of you guys that I captured off of her page. She stated, somebody basically stated that, hey, you know, we need to, you know, have our plans in secret or whatnot or whatever, right? You know, backroom type deal. And the creator basically said, yeah, that's why I started a Discord, so we can keep a lot of our plans, you know, off of the main platform. But see, the problem that I have is this, right? A lot of these women, as I'm looking at this type of content, is that they're doing a few things. Number one, they're going to all of the platforms where they know everybody is, right? But yet there's tons of websites out there where specifically women are located, right? People can do a variety of things in order to get the word out so that, specifically women would be directly there and they don't have to worry about the eyes of men or, the listening or men, making comments or, being aware of any of that, right? So number two, they're bringing awareness directly to how it is that they feel because they want the reactions of men. They want guys, they want to, in a sense, provoke a response in order to prove, hey, this is us just on this space, minding our business, and yet here are these men, and they're putting these certain types of emotions and directing them towards us, and they're letting us know how it is that they feel, and yada, 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 and all this other type of, stuff like that. And they want to do that to try to prove, to try to give validity to how it is that they specifically feel, right? The other thing that they're also doing is they're trying to, not in a sense hardwire, but indoctrinate a lot of other women with this nonsense. She literally stated that they need to get rid of men, and the best way to do that is to pretty much keep the top 10%. And she was like, yeah, the most, physically fit and the most good looking. I want you to understand. I want you to understand. I'm not sure how she thinks that is going to 100% work. Because the main goal, because this is what a lot of them don't actually understand, because they want to talk about behind the scenes. The main thing with this is that a lot of them want this to turn into a lesbian type of situation. And I've touched on this before by way of another video where a Black woman who worked directly in the broadcasting industry stated what her message basically was and what it is that she was trying to enact and do. And they were successful with the plan. It was about a good 20 something odd year plan that they had, 20 or 25 some odd year plan, but they got it enacted, right? And it all started directly from one place. If I can happen to remember the video, I may slide it directly in here so that people can understand what it is that I'm talking about.
I began to organize social events for lesbians of color at the time. Myself and I had two other business partners, and we were a perfect fit. We would rent restaurants and invite women to come and amass a mail list. And women would come from all over the region. And on any holiday night, the group was called Hospitality Atlanta. It would not be odd to have 700 to 800 women exclusively packed into a beautiful restaurant we hired police at the door and would not let a man in. And from those events, we had softball leagues and softball teams and major, picnics and whatnot. It was just a great, at that time, we thought, organization. We made a lot of money. And we did that for nearly 10 years. And when we got older and decided we didn't want to do it anymore, decided, well, what are we going to do with this mail list? And from that mail list, I decided to launch a magazine. The gay and lesbian political community began to pay attention to the fact that we could bring numbers of Black lesbians and gays together through the work that we were doing. And then when the magazine was launched, surely we began to get contacted by HRC, Human Rights Campaign, and the Victory Fund, and many of the gay organizations who are doing a lot of work right now. And it was a very important part in the early 90s of the work that they were doing, because at that time they were being told by local politicians and regional politicians and national politicians that, okay, you guys are a group of rich white gay men, and you want us to change laws just for you. No, we don't see a coalition of people here. So it was important then to be able to raise up or show a Charlene Cawthorn or a Venus magazine to say, oh no, there's a huge, vibrant Black gay community. Look at that through the pages of Venus magazine. So we were an important part of what they were trying to present. The strategy is always to get one little foot in the door, when in fact, the plan means we're going to take over the whole thing. Well, why don't we just get a statement, Mr. School Board President, in your school board policy that you simply acknowledge the fact that we will not fire a gay teacher, or that there may be some gay students that we're going to be okay with, not trying not to be prejudiced toward them through our policy. We just want one little statement in the booklet, when in fact the plan is to take over the whole school system, as we see now 15 years later is happening. There's always just, that's the strategy, just to get in under the wire, and then once you get enough of our people in, then to do some major work. I was asked to help with domestic partnership, get the domestic partnership bill passed in Atlanta, Georgia. And they helped to train me to go in and speak with council people and to speak with the mayor. And of course, they chose not only people of color, but also people who were landowners. Of course, I owned a home at that time. And people who had a good, strong voting record. That was also very important. And so we would go in under the wire, and basically what we were trained is that don't talk to anybody else about this. All we want to do is get in, talk to the council people. We don't even want the church folk to understand that this vote is coming up soon. We want to be able to fill the auditorium on vote day with all gay and lesbian landowners, so that the politicians will say, my God, we kind of have to do this. That's the strategy. That's the strategy. They were able to infiltrate media. And even people, I look at people who started out even with my small publication. People who started out with Venus magazine and were able to take, tear sheets from our book, are now working for some major newspapers, working for Bloomberg, working for the New York Times, working for Condé Nast. And so it's so true. It's like they gays and lesbians run major media in this country. They just do. And I'm not sure how many, if the church really, well, maybe the evangelical church realizes that, but gays and lesbians really are at the forefront of major media decisions. And so then sitcoms, every sitcom, they I've heard that every sitcom is going to have a gay character, and it's coming true. It really is. And of course, now gay characters have major talk shows. They really have taken over media. Why? Because media speaks directly into the minds of young people. And that's how you change society, by changing the mind of the youngest person.
But your main plan is to only keep 10% of the men, and it's only the ones that you, in a sense, desire, because as people stated before, the greater majority of women, right, pretty much find every other man out here to, what's the word, detestable, not attractive, ugly, whatever it is that they want to sit up there, pretty much invisible, right? And they'll be like, oh yeah, we could just send them directly to Mars, and realistically, men just want to sleep with each other anyway, so they can just do that and do their whole civilization. So you mean to tell me that the whole planet that we've all been living on, we're supposed to just automatically abandon that like it's a divorce proceeding, and we're supposed to pack our bags and go directly out to the desert because that's how much value you think men have, which is nothing. And we're just supposed to, be out there and just magically survive, when since, time began, men have literally built the greater majority, if not almost everything that you see directly in front of you. And that's supposed to be just abandoned because that's how you will it. That's crazy. That's diabolical. And then you have this idea to leave the top 10. Who's telling you, who stated to you that those men who are the top 10 would even want to reproduce with the women that are left? Those men would be able to selectively pick out the ones that they would want to reproduce with, which means that if those guys are the most physically fit and the most attractive, it's going to be the women that's going to be running to them because they don't have no other choice. You can't just walk out of your door and just, throw a dime and magically spot a guy. Nah, you have to go to a specific area within the planet to go visit these guys. Those guys are going to be the champions. You're not going to have any type, it could be whatever matriarchy that you feel. No woman is going to be able to tell those other women that they can't, go and see those guys and reproduce or do whatever it is that they want to do. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And then you have the other plan of, oh, and then if we got to deal with the heavy lifting and doing this, then we're going to get the women, the strongest women directly out there to do that, because they're just the same, if not more capable than the men directly out here. And then, you know, if the men that are left decide to procreate with those women, we're going to get, you know, very strong stock directly out. What? It's crazy how you have this plan and you're not even stating how it is, what job position that you would specifically have. So what, you're supposed to be just some princess? You're not doing any heavy work. You're not, you know, cleaning the waste management. You're not dealing with the work. Like, who's going to do the serious jobs when it deals with society? Because the most dangerous jobs directly out here, men are holding down. Women are not doing that. It's men that are holding down those jobs. The oil rig, the coal mining, anything of building skyscrapers or very tall buildings, anything with, you know, doing road work, piping, electrical work, cutting down trees, whatever the most dangerous jobs are, that's where men are. So I'm trying to figure out, if you get rid of 90% of men, and again, the greater majority of those men are working those dangerous jobs, what women are going to take up those jobs? You don't have enough women out here that are AKA Wonder Woman to go out there and decide that they want to risk their lives. Because if you go look up what the guys have to deal with on oil rigs, and potentially if you are not paying attention, you can lose a limb real quick because of how quick you know, a lot of the pieces of machinery move, including the chains. Oh yeah, it's over for you. Matter of fact, that's not even to mention offshoremen, or even guys who are fishermen, dealing, you know, all far out there in the Pacific, dealing with those waves and everything. Like, this is not a well thought out plan. I just want people to understand this is not a well thought out plan. Because it's going within the exact same thing of, you know, men are dangerous, but we're going to mitigate that by getting rid of 90%. No, you should then be shipping every single man on the planet directly to Mars. There should be no man left behind. That also includes your sons. Again, there should be no males here, but you know you can't do that, because over time, it's not even going to take that long. Give it time, and whatever population of women that you basically have here is not going to exist. How do I know that? Because you already have in the United States, out there in Oregon, you have what is called woman's land. And the problem that they're having there is that they are aging out. The women who pretty much started that, let's say if it was back during the 70s, yeah, they're elders now. They're not able to go out there and go to and from. Their bones are not the same. Their bodies are not the same. They need new blood in order to keep woman's land. So this is when they decide to have a woman, I guess, go outside and have a one night stand. And depending on what the child is, you know, the woman is going to be out there, you know, up until that child is born, and they have to leave that child there. So the way that it works is that if it's a girl, then all right, you can come directly back with that girl, and it's fine. We got enough, you know, hands here to help and all this other type of stuff. We got community for the women. But if it's a boy, hey, guess what? That boy has to get left out. He's going to be with his father, or he's going to be with an orphanage. And then we're going to send somebody out, and we're going to try again, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Like I said, women have done this, and the aging out is not working. It's not working as planned, because they don't have enough new blood coming directly in there. Also to put another layer directly on that, they stated that the council, in order for a new woman to come directly in, because they're just not accepting anybody, in order for a new woman to come in, the whole council has to 100% agree to allow that woman in order for her to come in there. If not, she's not going to be there. So again, this is another reason why they have an aging problem when it deals with women. Like I said before, this whole conversation is just ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous conversation that I've heard. And for me at this moment, as I stated before earlier, it seems to me that all this is a type of rage bait in order to give a justification of feelings, and also to validate certain sentiments, because they know that there's going to be some guys out there that are going to see, you know, these types of videos, and they're going to, you know, make a response. They're going to make comments back. Again, like this whole thing is just so crazy. It's 100% crazy. Like this is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. But you know, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? People want to pick and choose and do stuff like this. Crazy work. Send people to Mars, brother. You didn't even say the moon. You were like Mars. That is wild. That is 1,000% wild. But you know, it'd be like that. But you know, like I said, there's a lot of women that follow content like this, and they follow multitudes of the hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands of women, you know, directly out there that preach this exact same thing. Again, it wasn't too long ago that I brought you guys a video where you had some black women directly out there stating that they need to stop birthing black males. And I'm like, that's wild. Like, these conversations out here are 1,000% wild. I kid you not. But, you know, again, what you gonna do, right? But anyways, let me know what you guys, let me know you guys' sentiments on this video, and everything that you were able to hear in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, stay tuned for the next video.